Welcome to Palia, a community simulation MMO that allows players to participate in various life simulated tasks such as farming, fishing, and decorating. This game also emphasizes social interactivity and relationship building with the NPCs. In other words, it's basically a 3D Stardew Valley game that I am absolutely obsessed with, and by the end of this video, you'll be as obsessed with this game too. And if you'd like to see more Palia content or you're in need of a comfy streamer to watch, make sure to follow me on twitch.tv/itsrosechi for more. Now, let's get straight into the game. Okay, so right when we log into the game, we go straight into character customization, where I got to pick out my face shape, skin tone, eye color, and the voice I would like my character to have. Then I got to pick out which hairstyle and color I'd like. I tried my best to pick out a cute hairstyle that would represent me in some way, which I did. I found these cute little brown pigtails, which you guys can see. And once I chose a hairstyle, I started looking for a cute outfit for my character. But as you can see, it took me quite a while. I was looking through all the colors of each and every tops and dresses that I could find until I finally decided on this cute red dress. Then I picked out my username and nickname for the NPCs to call me. After that, I dove straight into the game. I pressed create and boom, my character was being summoned into the game. And that's when I met Gina and Hecla. So Gina is apparently an inquisitive researcher who loves history and wants to know more about Palia's mysterious past. Which explains why she was asking me so many questions on how and why I popped out of nowhere. However, I had no idea how I was even summoned there, so I was no help to her. But she was help to me because she told me about Palia, who they were, and a little about their background. And she then gave me my first quest, which was to find Ashura in Kilma village. So, once I got my first quest, I made my way out of the ruins into the rural road when I bumped into my first villager named Cheney. After I talked to Cheney a bit, I continued looking around for Ashura when I then met Neo. So my first impressions on Neo was that I thought he would seem like a pretty chill and nice lad since he said he could help me around the farm later on. But anyways, after I talked to Neo, I found and talked to Ashura. He's apparently the innkeeper at the Uruma's Hoard. So after he'd introduced himself to me, he told me his inn was full at the moment, but I could build a tent to stay at for the night. So he gave me an axe and told me to find Hadori for a pick in order to gather materials for a tent. He gave me directions to find Hadori, which was up the hill where the empty housing plots were. Once I made my way up the hill into the housing plots, I finally found Hadori. We then talked for a bit and he gave me a pickaxe and a free housing plot. After I got the right tools, I started to clean out my new housing plot. After I cleaned up the land a bit, I received a tool bench to build my tent. Yay, look at that guys, I'm not homeless no more. After I built my tent, this little boy named Uni appeared in front of my housing plot. He was so excited to meet me and astonished at how I was a human. Uni then mentioned that he helps deliver the mail around town, along with teaching me how to use the cells bin. After Uni informed me about the mailbox and cells bin, I checked my mail, receiving 2 letters. One from Enar, sending me a fishing rod and telling me to meet him somewhere to learn how to fish. And another letter from Hassan gifting me a bow and arrows, along with the location on where to find him so he can teach me how to hunt. Once I finished reading my letters, I noticed a weird artifact in my inventory and asked Uni if he knew what it was. He thought it was cool, but recommended I showed it to Gina to get more information about it. Uni also recommended I talk to his dad to learn how to grow food since he's a farmer, and Reith, who can teach me how to cook. So I took Uni's advice and looked for his father, Badru. Once I found Badru, we talked for a while and then he agreed to meet me at my plot to teach me how to grow crops. After I finished talking to Badru, I went looking for Reith, who was apparently the good cook in town, said by Uni. After following the marker for a little bit, I finally found Reith, and when he started his introduction with name's Reith, but you can call me Trouble, I low-key fangirled, guys. Like, I don't know, something about him being a little baddie and a cook got me. Anyways, I asked if he could teach me how to cook, and he recommended that I would set up a campfire at my place and grill some shrooms like a champ. Then he'll help me with more complicated stuff. So yeah, after we talked for a while, Reith recommended I also go talk to Kenley, which is the mayor, to help me get a house instead of living in a tent for the rest of my life. So I took Reith's advice as well and went on the hunt for Mayor Kenley. Once I found Kenley, I asked if I could have a house instead of a tent, and he told me he would need to find some paperwork to make that happen, but in the meantime, I should go talk to Tish instead since she's a carpenter and furniture maker. However, instead of looking for Tish, I ran into Gina at the library, and since Gina was already here, I decided to show her the mysterious object I found in my inventory. She was intrigued by the mysterious object and decided to hold onto it in order to inspect it a little bit more, and once she figures out what it is, she'll send me a letter about her findings. After talking to Gina, I decided to find Enor in order to learn how to fish. After learning how to fish, I noticed it was getting pretty dark and decided to follow the hanging lights, which eventually led me into the Magi Market. At the Magi Market, I met Tish. She was so nice and even gave me some furniture recipes. I then met Jill, who was a tailor in the village. Oh, and I also met Kenyatta, who is the mayor's daughter. After meeting some new villagers, I wandered around a bit until I heard some loud fireworks sounds. The Magi Market fireworks show begun. It was such a pretty view, till I realized that there was a chappa race happening. At the moment, I didn't know what was going on until I saw that I could pick up chappas and bring them back to the little cage. And after I realized that, I grabbed as many chappas as I could to bring back to their cage. And after the chappa race, I received some tickets that I could collect in order to buy a prize. However, I didn't have enough tickets to get anything yet. After the Magi Market, I went back to my housing plot while being greeted by Badru. Badru then started teaching me how to be a little farmer like himself, and once he taught me how to do a little gardening, I immediately started growing some carrots and onion seeds that Badru provided for me. Thank you, Badru! And after I did a little farming, I checked my mail and received 3 letters. One from Ashura letting me know that he can teach me how to make a sawmill, a letter from Enar gifting me a cute little boot with a plant growing out of it, and a letter from Kenley who was advertising the Magi Market. After reading those letters, I made my way back into the village, meeting and talking to some villagers who were wandering around. That's when I stumbled upon Hassan, who then taught me how to use the bow and arrows. Once I knew how to use the bow and arrows, I went straight into hunting, and after I did some hunting, I went back home and saw a letter from Gina, stating that she thinks that weird object I found is a battery that could be a key to opening an old door under the waterfall. She recommended I go to the old door by the waterfall and try opening the door with this key. However, I didn't want to go looking for the mysterious old door yet, so I decided to decorate my little tent a bit, take care of my plants, and store things away in my chest until Kenley showed up in the front of my housing plot. Like, geez, what's up with these villagers jump scaring me like that? But anyways, Kenley came over to let me know that he finally found the forms that I could sign in order for me to have an official house at Palia. Once I signed his forms, he proceeded to give me my blueprints for my house. And once I received my house blueprints, I immediately went and cleared out a spot for my house, and once I placed down the blueprints, Tish came out of nowhere and gave me some tips to help me get started building my house. Tish recommended I go to Ashura to buy a sawmill and to Hodori for a stone smelter in order for me to make the right materials to build my house out of. Then I went straight to Ashura for the recipe until I realized that I needed money to buy a sawmill. And guess who didn't have money at the moment? Me! Since I was broke and sad, I decided to hang out at the Magi Market for a bit until I noticed Kenyatta had a quest for me. Her quest was to buy her some food from Reed's booth, and she gave me money to pay for it. However, at the time, I didn't realize she wanted food from Reed's booth, and I bought her something from Delilah's booth instead. And you know what Kenyatta did? She didn't even accept Delilah's food. So I decided, since she didn't want the food from Delilah's stand, then I'm not gonna go bother and buy her food from Reed's stand. So instead, I used the rest of the money to buy my sawmill and stone smelter. Thanks for the money, Kenyatta, and sorry about the food. Once I got home, I went straight to the crafting table and was able to make a basic sawmill, and after I made the sawmill, I immediately put some wood in it so I could start crafting those sap wood planks for my house. All I needed now were some stone bricks, however, I couldn't make the smelter just yet since I was missing some Sternuk hide. So I went on the hunt for some hide, and once I collected all the hide, I went back home and made the stone smelter and started smelting some stone. Now that I have some wood in the sawmill and stone in the smelter, all I have to do now is wait. And while I was waiting, Kenley came to visit me, asking me for his housewarming gift. Yeah, you heard me. This man wanted me to give him a housewarming gift. I was kind of confused on why I had to give him a gift instead of him gifting me a gift, so I asked him to explain why, and he said that in Kilmo, when someone new moves into the village, they are supposed to go around with small gifts for their neighbors. Then he had the audacity to walk off and say if I ever wanted to be invited to his wife's dinner parties, then I should start making the rounds, and all I can say is I was shocked at his statement. Nonetheless, I didn't let Kenley's backlash get to me, so I decided to continue working on my plots, cutting down trees for more wood and mining some stone, and after a bit of hard work, I checked my mailbox receiving 3 letters. One from Hidori, letting me know mail that I can purchase copper and other minor recipes, a letter from Zeki reminding me to purchase an expanded backpack to carry more items, and a letter from Gina letting me know something strange was happening at the Phoenix Shrine and to meet her there whenever I have time. After I read the mail, I checked my quest list, and this is when I realized why Kenyatta didn't accept Delilah's food earlier. Because she wanted Wreath's food. Yeah, so I ran all the way to the Magic Market to see if I still had enough money for Wreath's food. Spoiler alert, I didn't. Wreath's food was more expensive than I thought. However, talking to Wreath wasn't a bad idea because he then gave me a free bowl of soup and a quest to help him bring back another cookbook from the library since he wasn't allowed in the library due to an incident. And guys, after talking to Wreath for a bit, I low-key started to like him. I'm not gonna lie, in the beginning of the game, I thought I would like Neo, but I don't know guys, Wreath is starting to have a special place in my heart. Anyways, after talking to Wreath, the Kappa race begun and I tried my best to catch as many Kappa as I could to earn more tickets. And I did! Guys, I had enough tickets to buy a cute Kappa plushie. And once I bought the plushie, I immediately placed it down on my housing plot. Then I proceeded to check up on my sawmill, smelter, and added a bit more saplings and stone into my house. Then I decided that it would be a good time to start delivering those housewarming gifts to the villagers. However, I didn't know what any of the villagers liked, so I low-key just looked up what the villagers' favorite items were on Google and grabbed them from my chest. Once I had all the gifts ready, I started delivering them. First gift went to Wreath, obviously, and second gift went to Delilah. And while I was delivering Delilah's gift, she gave me a quest to deliver her son's lunch in return. So I then delivered Neo his lunch, and you know what I got in return from him? Another quest! Yeah, so Neo asked if I could harvest some carrots and deliver them to him since Wreath ordered a bunch of carrots and Neo didn't have enough in stock. But lucky for him, I just harvested some carrots, so I gladly accepted his request. However, I still had a couple of other things to deliver, such as Uni's lunch and the rest of the housewarming gifts. So I went straight to Uni and delivered his lunch, gave Tish my third housewarming gift, Sifu the fourth gift, and Hassan the fifth housewarming gift. Once I delivered all the housewarming gifts, I told Kenley about my good deeds whilst rewarding me with a grilled oyster. And immediately after, he gave me another quest to help him find his missing sandwich. Yeah, I don't know who this mayor is, but I really didn't want to help him find his sandwich. Like, go buy yourself another one, Mr. Mayor. So instead of fulfilling Kenley's quest, I decided to fulfill Wreath's quest instead, which was to get him a cookbook from the library. However, right when I mentioned a cookbook to the librarian, she immediately suspected that I was getting the book for Wreath and started complaining about the mess he made in the library. I guess she was referring to the incident Wreath told me about, so I apologized for Wreath's mistakes and she surprisingly let me grab one and only one book for Wreath. Right when I grabbed the cookbook, I immediately went to Wreath and delivered the book. Nonetheless, he was very happy and even gave me a nickname called Sweet Tooth, which I thought was kinda cute. Oh, and he gave me a bowl of his world famous vegetable soup to show his gratitude. Then I stumbled upon Gina and she suggested that I go check out the Phoenix statue, and after looking around, I found this chest and immediately snatched it and ran home. Once I got home, I grabbed more of the sapwood planks and stone bricks to contribute them to my house. Then I decided to check the mail, receiving 3 letters. One from Midori gifting me 100 coins for purchasing a smelter, a letter from Badru gifting me a pantry, and a letter from Ashura gifting me 100 coins for purchasing the sawmill. And after reading those letters, I was reminded of the quest to go deliver some carrots to Neo, so I grabbed some carrots and was on my way out until I realized I got more letters delivered. So I opened my mailbox and read the letters, one from Ashura reminding me that I could buy a better axe recipe from him, a letter from Wreath gifting me some spice sprouts, a letter from Delilah gifting me a jar of sweet jam, and a letter from Uni gifting me a cute little picnic blanket. After reading all those letters, I realized that I never finished my quest at the Phoenix Shrine, so I went back to the shrine and completed it. And after I completed the quest, I made my way over to the Magic Market to deliver the carrots to Neo. However, when I gave the carrots to Neo, he stated that he had an appointment with Kenley at the moment and asked if I could deliver the carrots to Wreath instead. Of course, I accepted. However, when I delivered the carrots to Wreath, he didn't seem too happy about it. Instead, he said Loverboy too busy to deliver these himself. I was then confused and Wreath went on by stating Neo and Kenyatta have been sneaking around for ages. Now this surprised me. I could not believe that Neo had a secret girlfriend and to think I considered romancing him. Well, this just made me 100% want to pursue Wreath. But nonetheless, I wanted more info about this and so I decided to go straight out and confront Neo on the matter, and Neo was actually surprised that Wreath even knew about about this information. He then stated that he doesn't mind people knowing about their relationship, however, he doesn't want her mother to know or else things would get really messy for him and Kenyatta. He then thanked me for delivering the carrots to Reed and for saving his date with Kenyatta. After talking to Neo, I decided to talk to Kenyatta and she gave me the quest to cook her anything as long as it wasn't lettuce soup since Reed has only been making her lettuce soup. Then she stated, and I quote, "Reed's hot, but he's not hot enough to make up for all that lettuce." And after she said those exact words, I was shocked. Like, girl, for one, you had the audacity to say Reed's hot in front of my face, knowing that you have a full-on secret boyfriend, and made fun of Reed's food? Yeah, to say the least, I was offended for Reed. Anyways, after all the drama, I decided to head back home and contribute the rest of my sapwood planks and stone bricks to my house. Yay! Now all I had to do now was wait 7 hours for my house to be built. So while I waited, I decided to tend my crops, make some food, mine for copper, do a little foraging, finish one of Reed's quests, buy an expanded backpack from Rosechi, and explore the chambers with the mysterious door Gina was talking about. However, the door didn't open unless I completed a riddle, which I figured out pretty fast. And once I figured the riddle out, the door opened, leading me to a whole other room with a broken statue. However, I couldn't get past the statue since I needed a glider to explore the rest of the cave. Nonetheless, I told Gina what was past the door. She then recommended I talk to Najima to help build a glider for me in order for me to explore more of the cave. After that big adventure, I decided to log off the game and rejoin once 7 hours has passed. And that's when I got to see my house finally built. After I took a look around, I talked to Tish, who was waiting for me in the front of my house. She then congratulated me on my new house and gifted me new wallpaper and flooring. She also mentioned that I can get more house upgrades at City Hall. Once Tish left, Jill appeared, stating that Tish told him I got a new house and he had to come see it for himself. He then reminded me that he was the town's tailor and that I should have a wardrobe in my house at all times to own clothes, of course. Although I already had a wardrobe in my house, so I didn't have to worry about his concerns. Anyways, after I talked to Jill, I checked my mail receiving 3 letters. One from Cheney requesting me to speak with the dragon at his shrine north of the village, a letter from Zeki thanking me for buying his expanded backpack, and a letter from Reed gifting me 3 new recipes to use on my campfire. After I read those letters, I made my way back into the village to buy tomato seeds from Zeki and talking to Kenyatta for a bit. Kenyatta then reminded me that I could buy a ton of house upgrades at City Hall, so I made my way over to City Hall looking at all the cool expansions and add-ons I could use on my house. I then decided to buy a writ, meaning I can now expand my plot by 1 space. After purchasing a writ, I talked to Zeki for a bit until he mentioned something very interesting. Zeki informed me that there was a secret black market somewhere around the village. He then said if I ever stumble upon it to let him know. I was low-key shocked at this news. Anyways, after I talked to Zeki, I visited the dragon shrine to finish one of Cheney's requests. Then I found Najima and asked if she could make me a glider. However, before she could make me a glider, I would have to gather all the materials for my glider to be made out of. After I talked to Najima, I went back home to water some plants, and while I was doing a bit of gardening, Ishii showed up in front of my house, congratulating me for actually being able to make my own house. Then Ishii stated that I still wasn't considered a citizen unless I finished these 3 tests. 1 to prove my generosity, 2 to prove my purpose, and 3 to prove my devotion. After I received those tasks, I checked my mail receiving 4 new letters. One from Neo gifting me pickles, a letter from Kenyatta gifting me tree seeds, a letter from Zeki gifting me a lucky coin to use at his store, and a letter from Uni gifting me a bug. After reading the mail, I decided to upgrade my housing plot by 1 square using my writ. After I expanded, I did a little rearranging with the fences and cleared out the trees in my new plot. Once I cleared out some trees, I decided it would be a good idea to buy a better axe recipe from Ashira. After I bought the recipe, I decided to start making my rounds of gifting villagers items that they previously requested for in order to prove my generosity in the village. So I ended up gifting Neo, Tish, Hadori, Najima, and Hassan their gifts. Once I delivered everyone their gifts, I went back home to make some food and relocate my furniture into my house. After I moved all my furniture into my house, I checked my mail receiving 4 letters. One from Reith letting me know I can buy recipes to make a stove and prep station, a letter from Hassan gifting me some chopper fur, another letter from Hassan letting me know I can buy a recipe for better arrows, and a letter from Ashura letting me know I can buy a better Sama recipe from him. After reading those letters, I told Ishii I proved my purpose purpose in the village. Then I decided to buy a stovetop and prep station from Wreath, along with gifting him some food I made to boost our friendship level. Then I ran into Ashura at the lake. He asked if I've seen Wreath anywhere, and I said, nope, I haven't seen him, even though I just talked to him. Ashura then went on by saying it's been rough for Wreath since he's been taking care of his sister Tish, and he stopped right there, stating that it's none of his business to continue talking about Wreath. Ashura then said if I wanted more info, then I should ask Wreath about it instead, and to let Wreath know he's looking for him with a list of chores for him to complete. After that talk with Ashura, you best believe I went straight to Wreath to let him know that Ashura had a list of chores for him. Wreath then said, oh yeah, I have been putting a few things off since I've been really busy helping Tish with her next furniture project. He then stated she's done our parents proud by continuing on their path. The least I can do is help her when she asks. Wreath then suggested he'd better go handle Ashura's chores unless I could do them for him. And you guys already know I agreed to help him out. So the first thing on the list was to deliver Ishii some food she had ordered. But once Ishii got her food, she was kinda upset that the food was cold and stated that Wreath should have stayed a carpenter. Yikes, Ishii, no need to be rude. Nonetheless, I shrugged that off and went over to Neo for the next chore on the list, which was to pick up some pickles. But when I asked for the pickles, Neo said that he was glad I'm here for the pickles instead of Wreath. I then asked why, and he said that Wreath and him don't really get along. Then he questioned why I'm even helping him. In response, I said I'm helping him because he's my friend. Neo then replied with, you know what he's really like, right? Always flirting with everyone, even with people who are maybe kind of already taken. And right when Neo said that, I immediately thought Neo was a bit jealous of Wreath for talking to his girl. Anyways, after that little talk with Neo, he then gave me the pickles I was supposed to pick up. Then I headed over to Hassan to pick up a meat order, but when I got there, Hassan didn't seem too happy that I was doing Wreath's job for him. I then asked if he had a problem with Wreath, and he said, a problem? I don't think about him enough to have a problem with him. It's one thing to betray everything your parents set up for your future, and another to flaunt it. He wears it like a badge of honor when it is a mark of shame to stray from your path. But still, you're doing his job for him, so I suppose he should be rewarded. And Hassan proceeded to give me the meat and some chapa for as my reward. Once I finished Wreath's chores, I found Ashura and told him that Wreath finished all of his chores. Ashura was then shocked and said that he's not usually on top of things like that. He then asked how Wreath was doing, and I said he seemed pretty stressed. Ashura then said, really? I'm surprised he let you see that. The lad's always trying his best to seem fine. All he got is Tish, and with her condition, well, he could use some more friends like you, Rose. Do an old man a favor and keep an eye on him for me, would ya? And of course I said yes, although after learning more about Wreath, I felt so bad for him and how the villagers treat him. Nonetheless, Wreath is still my favorite character, and I will make sure he stays happy. Well guys, we are now at the end of the video. I hope you all enjoyed, and if you did, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment who your favorite Palia character is down below. Anyways, I hope to see you all in another video. Goodbye!